Okay. All right. So I got my hands like this here. Okay. And we're talking about the curse. Now I can explain the curse much better. Okay. And I was saying how on the one side, on Israel's side, you have Shem. Okay. Seth on this side. Seth leading down to Noah, then would be Shem. Okay, after Shem, and it's coming on down on this side. Very important. Okay, this is all the Israel side. Okay, Abraham's over here, Isaac's over here, and we just got finished talking about Isaac. Okay, and Isaac has the two sons, Esau and Jacob. Over here we have the other side. And we have Cain first, and then of course we have Ham, then Nimrod, then Ishmael, and now we're getting ready to have Esau. Now, what's the curse all about is these guys on this side over here. In order to understand it, we have to go all the way back to when he left his dad, Noah, and he went south and he went west, and he was lodging outside, right outside of what we call today's Egypt. It wasn't there then at that time. It was called Canaan, the land of Canaan, his grandson Canaan. Okay, that's what it was called. And Canaan was a major force. That's why they didn't even call it Ham, the land of Ham. They called it the land of Canaan because he was such a major, powerful force. Maybe he had a strong army and so forth. But anyway, with Canaan, and then we know that Japheth came down and visited with them and lodged with Ham and Canaan, and then through riches they created Egypt. Okay, they created Egypt. And the problem is, and the curse is, that in Egypt, they all worship false gods. And that's what the curse is all about. They all worshiped false gods that they created in Egypt. And everybody, once they created those false gods in Egypt, everybody on this side, Nimrod, he was the first. You know what I mean? Everybody on this side, they all worshiped that false god, the false gods of Egypt. You know what I mean? And the sun god and all those strange gods over there. Remember, I said that Nimrod wanted nothing to do with the God of Abraham. In other words, I was trying to say that these guys on this side over here, they wanted nothing to do with this side over here, with God and his children of Israel and telling them what to do and giving them the commandments and all these different things. This God over here, this is the God that I serve, because this is the God you're going to have to deal with when it comes to death. Okay, these guys over here in Egypt were gods that people made up. They got various types of materials or brick or mortar or something, and they just built stuff and they worship those gods and of course the sun god and all that. But the point here is that they created their own gods, and that's what the curse of Ham was really all about. And all the people on this side and the generations on this side that would worship those strange and false gods, even to today. Okay, but I had to wait. That's why I had to wait, because all of these generations on this side, they were all into that. And here's a case where Esau did it, and it upset his dad Isaac and his mother Rebecca. They had a problem with that. Now we come to chapter 27, Genesis chapter 27. And now Isaac is now an old man. He's now old and can barely see and stuff and whatever. And it says here, it came to pass when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, that he could not see. He called Esau, his eldest son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Here I am, Dad. What? And he said, Behold now, I am old, and I'm not I know not the day of my death. Therefore, I'm not going to read this because I'm just going to tell you, and then I'll refer to this, because these Bibles are really out. Anyway, he says, I want you to go out and hunt a deer and bring the meat back so that your mother can cook it, because he loved his deer meat cooked a certain kind of way. He said, I want to taste that deer meat and have that feast before I die. And when you come back, and after I eat the feast, I'm going to give you the blessings. We're talking about the blessings that God gave Abraham. Abraham gave Isaac, and now Isaac's getting ready to give them all to his oldest son, Esau. Okay, so Esau takes off. Boom. Now remember, Isaac loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Okay, so when he told me he's going to go get those, he's going to go out and get the deer meat and bring it back, and your mother will cook it, and after I eat it, I'll give you the blessing. So Esau took off and went hunting. But mom told Jacob, you go in there, you're going to get those blessings. You go in there and get them blessings. Now Jacob was like, wait a minute, I can't do that. I'm not going to go in there and do that. First of all, my brother's a hairy man, and I'm a smooth man, and I don't want to come in there like being a deceiver. So, But mom said, look, you're going to go get them blessings. Okay. What she did was she hooked up deer hides and different animal hides and stuff and put them all over Jacob so that he can get the blessings. And she said to him that if I get caught in our little move here, let the curse be on me. That's what she said. Okay. I'm saying that for a big reason. Okay, and I'll explain later. Okay. And he said, but hold it. I can't do this. I'll seem like a deceiver, and I'll bring a curse upon me instead of a blessing. You know what I mean? And she said, look, let that curse be on me. Obey my voice and go get the stuff. Okay. So he went and got the stuff and whatever, and she hooks up the meat and this, that, and the other, and took Esau's coat and all these different things, and put the skins on Jacob and all that. So Jacob comes to her father and says, okay, Dad, here I am, I'm back. And Isaac was like, who are you? I'm your son, Esau. This is Jacob lying. I'm Esau. You know what I mean? And Jacob was like, wait a minute, how'd you find the deer so quickly? And he said that the Lord provided. You know what I mean? And so the Lord brought it to me. He was like, really? He said, yeah. Come close. You know what I mean? Isaac was like, come close. And stuff. And then when he got real close up on him, Isaac really quickly went and felt him. And he felt the deer, the skin hides that Rebekah put on him. Oh, okay. He said, you know what I mean? Yeah, okay. Hands of Esau. Okay, yeah. You know what I mean? Then just to double check it, he said, went to hug him to give him a kiss. He said, come here and come near and kiss me. And he went smelt his raiment and blessed him. And said, see, the smell of my son is the smell of the field, which the Lord has blessed, Then he gave Jacob the blessings. Therefore God gave thee the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth, the plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee and let nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that cursed thee, and blessed be he that blesses thee. And you know what I mean? He's giving him all the blessings that God gave Abraham. Abraham gave to Isaac, and now Isaac's giving them all to Jacob, thinking that he's Esau. Okay. And Jacob got all the blessings, and he, thank you, Dad, and took off and went. Sometime later, here comes Esau with the meat, and here he comes. Okay, Dad, I'm back. I'm ready. And he's like, wait a minute. Who are you? I'm Esau, your firstborn. We talking about who am I? I'm your firstborn. You know what I mean? I came, you wanted me to go out and get the deer meat, this and the other. I got the deer meat. Mom's going to hook it up. Now I'm ready for my blessings. And he says, who are you? Who? I'm Esau, your firstborn. And Isaac trembled with very, very exceedingly and said, who? Where is he that taketh the venison and brought it to me? And I have eaten. And all before thou came, and I gave him all the blessings. You know what I mean? Ooh, and when Esau heard this, he was like, he started crying and cried really bad, exceeding bitter cry. He said to him, bless me, even me also. Bless me, Father. You know what I mean? He said, but your brother came suddenly and had taken away your blessings. That's what Isaac told him. And he says, is it his name rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, have you not another blessing, a reserved blessing for me? And Isaac answered him and said, behold, I have made him your Lord, and all of his brethren I gave to him for servants. And with corn and wine I have sustained him. And what shall I do unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, thou hast but one blessing, my father. Bless me, bless me. And he was crying. He was very upset. He was crying. He was weeping. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of the heaven up from above. And by thy word shall thou live, and shall serve thy brother. Ooh. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke off your neck. Oh, my goodness. And, of course, Esau hated his brother Jacob because of this. And he kind of made a little thing. He said, when my father dies, I'm going to kill my brother. And then, of course, and then somehow Rebekah heard this. The word got back to Rebekah that Esau was going to try to kill Jacob once Isaac died. So she sends Jacob, she told him what happened, told Jacob what was going on, and says, you go to my brother Laban's house and stay there with him until I give you word and tell you to come back. But little does Jacob know he's going to be there for a while. Okay? All right. And Rebekah said unto Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these, which are the daughters of the land, what good shall that do me for my life? Well, she thought that she was getting in trouble because of this, but you have to understand there's a bigger issue here. Okay? Now we can continue reading it and hopefully you'll see it, but I'm going to tell it to you. That way you'll know it. And when we're reading it, you'll hands down know what's going on. So, all right. Now, there are a lot of people who say, talking to people about this story, and you might get into a conversation with somebody, and you might hear somebody say to you, well, Jacob stole that blessing. Jacob stole his brother's blessing. Make sure that you let them know. Oh, no, he didn't. He didn't, because first of all, you got to remember what his mother Rebekah said. She was the one that made sure he got that blessing. He said that he didn't want to do that. He was a smooth man. His brother was a hairy man. He didn't want to seem like a deceiver. Okay, so and she said, if I get caught here, we get caught. Let the curse be on me. That's what she said. Okay, and Jacob got the blessing. But you have to understand, it's a much bigger issue going on here. Jacob had to get the blessing. He had to get the blessing for 2 reasons. He had to get the blessing for 2 reasons. The first reason being that you got to remember, God is behind all of this, and that door of death was open, and God is he picked the Jews through Abraham to bring his son into the world. Okay? Esau, like I said earlier, Esau, he's going to go off and start worshiping the false gods of Egypt. So God's not going to bring his son in the world to a person who's worshiping the false gods. So that's why Esau did not get it. Okay, that's why Ishmael didn't get it. That's why everybody on that side didn't come into these blessings of Abraham. But the bigger reason is because of Jacob and what's going to happen with him coming up next. What's going to become, because the story is now Isaac's getting ready to die, and the story is getting ready to turn into Jacob's story now. Okay? All right.